All right. So on to episode 12. Now I know in the last episode I said everything happens and they go home. It was a bit of a misstatement. Um, they go back to the orphanage place with the nun, and they're looking at how the kids that were orphaned because they joined the game as kids and their parents weren't there, and they're too young to like go anywhere. She kind of takes care of them, and she shows them how they live, and they're asking her about Yui, and she's like, no, I've never seen anyone like her um, in the 2.5 years. Sorry. And then all of a sudden there's a knock, and it's another one of those military people, and it's like the second in command. And as soon as like, oh, you're probably pretty pissed off about what we did to your people, huh? And she was like, no, actually, that was a different faction. The military grew too big, and it basically there was the person who originally started the military. His name was Thinker, and he grew at odds. Which I was wrong about something else. The dude that died to Gleam Eyes, the one that I said, well, his name was Korvatz, but he wasn't the guy from the beginning that was like being a douchebag. The guy that was being a douchebag in the beginning, his name was Kibao. He is still alive. He sent Korvatz up there as his number two to, I don't know, prove a statement, and then he got him killed. Well, this Kibao guy tricked the Thinker into going into some dungeon unarmed so that they could talk. And I'm guessing he tricked him because the dungeon is really high level, but it's under the first town in a secret area. So I'm guessing not many people knew about it. And then Kirito even says, this place wasn't in the beta. And they made the probably correct assumption that the more floors that get cleared, the more floors underneath gets cleared. Because, I mean, who's going to think to go back to level 1 to look for training grounds? So, yeah. So, they agree to help this guy. But as soon as, like, we got to kind of verify to make sure that your story checks out. And all of a sudden, Yui pops up and she's like, she's telling the truth, Mommy. I just know it. I know it. I feel it. And they're like, okay. Well, then they're like, all right, well, we'll help. But you're going to stay here, Yui. No, I don't want to. I'm coming with Mama and Daddy. No, you're not coming. And she starts whining more and more. And for some reason, they cave in and take her. And she's all excited watching Kirito fight. And Kirito's having a blast, killing a bunch of frogs. And they make a little joke about, look at all this frog meat I got. And he pulls out a frog leg. It's like, as soon as you'll cook this for us, right? And she throws it away. And he's like, well, but I look at all the frog meat. It's perfectly good meat. And he's got like a bushel of frog legs. And as soon as starts throwing all of them on the ground. And this makes the chick that's looking for a friend who's been sad this entire time smile. And Yui's like, this is the first time you smiled. It makes me happy. You get that there's some sort of weird connection between Yui and people. And that's when they get to where this guy is trapped at. There's like a long hallway, and he's in like a safe room. So the military chick sees him and is like, yeah, thank her. Oh my gosh. And she starts running. He's like, stop. No, stay away. The hallway is a trap. And just then, Kirito notices a name, like, in the wall. And I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically the Grim Reaper. And it tries to kill her, but Kirito knocks her out of the way just in time. And he's like, you take Yui and get to the safe room. And use the teleport crystals to get out of there. And he tells Asuna to go too. And she's like, no, I'm not. So this thing moves in to attack Kirito. And he does a blocking stance with both of his swords. And Asuna like gets behind him and braces him and his swords with her sword for the attack. And this thing hits them and knocks her 30 feet away, knocks Kirito straight up in the air against the ceiling. Part of the ceiling falls in and he smacks down on the ground. That one attack that they both blocked almost, well, I wouldn't say almost, takes her to like a fourth of her health and him to half. And like I said, that was them blocking. So a strange thing happens. Yui walks out of the safe room as soon as the teleport crystals go off. So she's not being teleported away. And she walks straight up to the monster. And Asuna and Kirito is trying to get back on their feet. And this monster, Grim Reaper, just takes, he's like, well, free kills, I guess. And he takes a scythe, and from the trajectory that's pointy end was going to go into Yui's skull. But there's like a force field. And they look up, and there's like a error message above Yui's head saying immortal object. And then at this point, you're like, what? Immortal object? That'll come back into play later too. But so she changes back into the white ghost outfit that she had from the previous episode, and all of a sudden just materializes a friggin' 10-foot flaming greatsword and just vanishes this monster out of existence. And so then she goes back to the safe room with Kirito and Asuna, and she's like, I remember everything now. So there was a thing that I wanted to point out in the last episode about Yui's name. So basically she explains that her job is to protect, it was to protect the people's consciousness within the game. She's basically a user interface. You ever heard of a GUI? Graphical user interface? A UI? She's a user interface. But anyways, so she explains that the guy that made the entire game, he wrote the world to where it doesn't need to be monitored by humans. Like, let's say there's too many people gathering up in one area. Well, the game will automatically increase the amount of monsters, or maybe the difficulty, or maybe how smart the monster is, or like every every year it's not going to be the same quests on Christmas and Halloween. Like, it's going to think up its own stuff. But by giving the system itself that autonomy, it also made decisions that weren't wrote in. So her job was basically to monitor everyone's psychological needs and help just be, I don't know, be a support artificial intelligence. But the system itself, ever since the game had started, locked her in this console where she could see everyone's emotions and she feels them, and she's unable to help. She's get forced to watch people struggle with suicide and killing people and all this. And after 2 years, 2.5 years, it kind of broke her mind. And then all of a sudden, out of the doom and gloom, there's a couple. There's a couple that spreads joy and love and just pure emotions unlike she's ever seen. She had to meet him. So she just wandered the plains. She broke out and she found them. Mama, Papa. Like I said, they get super sappy. Turns out, though, that what she did was she accessed a Game Master terminal that was in the safe room, and she deleted the monster that was about to kill them. And so, because she did that as a artificial intelligence and not actually as a game master, which there are no game masters, the system itself realized her as a threat. So it was at that point analyzing her data in order to delete her. And this makes Asuna cry, and Kirito's like, no, I won't let that happen. And so she gets deleted. Asuna's like, I thought we were going to be a family. And Kirito's like, not if I have anything to say about it. Like I said, man, he just live. He does, if he wants it, it's over. I'm gonna use this Game Master terminal while still logged in, and I'll teach them a thing or two. And he hacks the game as a player, which there are not supposed to be any players to be able to access Game Master terminal. So it's not odd to the system for him to be able to do it, because he's a human. Humans are supposed to be game masters. So he turns what he can save of her data into an item and gives it to Asuna, and she's like, what's this? And she clicks on the item. Yui's heart. Aw. When we get out of this game, it'll be tough, but I'm gonna use that to remake our daughter, and we are gonna be a happy family. I don't think. Let me see. Oh yeah, there's like a filler episode left, which is only half a filler, and then the end of the first season. So we're almost there. We have almost made it. I can tell you that the cringe is gone. Like I said, this next filler episode, it's more supposed to be fun than anything. So yeah. Yui's heart. Wonder how that's gonna turn out. See ya.